Hello, this is Aaron Rosen, your local real estate agent in Northern California. Today I just wanted to go over some news. Today is Friday, July 26th. And if you haven't heard, over in Chico, we have a large fire and a man was just arrested. So just want to take you through some of the news about fires in Northern California. We've had a series of fires here over the last 10 years actually that have devastated a lot of the community and has changed the fundamental aspects of real estate, including insurance, which I will get to. A Northern California wildland fire that exploded overnight in the state's largest blaze this wildfire season, destroyed structures and prompted thousands of evacuations, was allegedly started by a man who pushed a burning car into a gully. The 48-year-old arson suspect linked to starting the Park Fire in Butte County near the city of Chico was arrested Thursday morning and jailed without bail, says Butte County District Attorney Mike Ramsey. I just called one of my friends over there, and he said it's wild. They're being forced to evacuate. They've got to get all of their animals out from their farm, and so I'm keeping close tabs on this fire for just personal reasons. Officials identified the suspect as Ronnie Dean Stout II on Thursday evening ahead of his arraignment on Monday. Stout was allegedly spotted just before 3 p.m. local time on Wednesday, pushing a car that was on fire down a gully called Alligator Hole in Bidwell Park near Chico. Apparently this is the guy. He does not look too happy. I don't know why you would do this. Maybe he was bitter for some reason, or maybe he was trying to get rid of a car. I have no clue. The car went down an embankment approximately 60 feet and burned completely, spreading flames that caused the park fire. A man who was later identified as Stout was allegedly seen calmly leaving the area by blending in with other park visitors, fleeing the rapidly evolving fire. Stout has two previous strike felony convictions, according to the DA's office, which will be charged along with whatever arson charge is determined by the evidence to be appropriate on Monday. 3 strikes and you're out. California law imposes a life sentence for almost any crime, no matter how minor, if the defendant has 2 prior convictions for crimes defined as serious or violent by the California Penal Code. Wow. So this guy might get life in prison for this. I don't know all the details of this, but right now I don't feel particularly sorry for him. Stout's prior felony convictions include lewd or lascivious acts with a child. Now I definitely think we should throw the book at this guy. Lock him up. I'm surprised they didn't lock him up to begin with. Maybe California needs some new rules about this kind of stuff. He was sentenced to 20 years in state prison following a 2020 conviction, according to the DA. The Park Fire in Butte County, California, and the Durkee Fire in Oregon are the largest fires burning in the nation. Continued filling West Coast skies Thursday with smoke as gusty winds and treacherous terrain were dealing with challenges to firefighters battling both blazes. The Park Fire started around 3 p.m. Wednesday northeast of the city of Chico in Bidwell Park overnight Friday, had burned 164,000 acres. Excuse me. Destroying an undetermined number of structures and caused the Butte County Sheriff's Department to order evictions for rural foothill communities in the area, including nearly the entire time of Cohasset. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correct, which has a population of around 400. More than 1,000 firefighters were fighting the flames Thursday morning using helicopters and cutting lines with bulldozers in a desperate attempt to prevent the fire from spreading to homes in the densely populated areas of North Chico. I don't know if you've been out to this area, but there's a lot of woods out there and a lot of stuff is rural, so it's really, really dangerous. The fire is well established. Fire personnel are currently focusing on evacuations and structure defense while currently building direct containment lines utilizing bulldozers, fire crews, and fire engines. CAL FIRE said in an updated statement Thursday morning. More resources have been ordered and are inbound from various areas throughout Northern California. Look at that. I just got to tell you, this is really scary. I don't know if you've seen fires like this, but when the whole horizon is on fire, oh man, it's scary. That happened a couple of times here. I'm originally from up in Willits, and every morning we'd go out there and watch the fire up there, and it would just slowly creep across the horizon. So it's definitely scary. At least 3,800 people were under evacuation orders in Butte and Tehama counties, officials said. The park fire rapidly grew in the state's largest conflagration this wildfire season, surpassing the lake fire near Santa Barbara in Southern California that started on July 5th. As of Thursday morning, the lake fire has burned 38,000 acres and was 90% contained. The Butte County was one of 64 new fires that erupted in California on Wednesday. That is amazing. So ultimately, the solution for this is going to be better fire management. And that's really comes down to better management of the forest. There was a huge push here to leave the forest alone, but really what's happened is we've expanded and grown into these forests, and that's where the communities reside now. So it's just my personal opinion. I'm not a wildlife fire expert, but I've heard a lot of people talk about how we need to bring back the logging industry to actually save the homes. It's part of the forest health. So it says here the Durkee fire is the largest in the nation at 270,000 acres, 400 square miles in Oregon. So this article goes on, but I just wanted to highlight some of the dangers in California. And now, let's just continue. Oh, I don't know if this is going to... Okay. California, here's an article I found that was very interesting. California home insurance provider sells subpar illegal wildfire policies, lawsuit alleges. A lot of the insurances, different insurance places, they jacked up premiums, they didn't want to do it, and looks like as a result they did a lot of illegal stuff. So let's just read about this. The California Fair Plan, the state's backup home insurance provider, is accused of selling inadequate policies for years to hundreds of thousands of residents. So, one of my good friends is an insurance agent, and he was saying that rebuilding for fires is 150%. Actually, that they pay you for the house, but that is not just straight across the board. So let's just see how it was actually a subpar. This has allowed the insurer to increase profits by illegally denying, in part or in full, hundreds of claims related to fire damages, the lawsuit alleges. The practices save Fair Plan members' carriers tens of millions of dollars a year, said Dylan Schaefer, an attorney who filed the case. Practices, careers. Okay. The Fair Plan is a state-centered insurer that is funded by insurance companies, not taxpayers. It provides Californians with a way to get fire coverage when they can't afford it otherwise, when they can't find it otherwise. At the end of June, it insured more than 400,000 homes, making it one of the largest in the state. What do you know? There was corruption in this. Interesting. A spokesperson for the Fair Plan they declined to comment on the lawsuit. You know what? I'm just going to say, I don't know the ins and outs in this, but I think if you're a government official and you're involved in government stuff, there is no declining to comment on something. That's your job. Figure out a statement and figure out how to fix it. In recent years, it's seen exponential growth as California's insurance market has crumbled. I'm going to look into this a bit more, but I also know that this is because of some policies enacted by the government. Companies have pulled back business in the state in response to inflation, increased risk due to climate change, and losses caused by catastrophic wildfires. The lawsuit claims that the Fair Plan in 2007 began selling policies that restricted coverage. One of the changes made was to not only pay for smoke damage that was detected by someone's eyes or nose, but not by laboratory testing. Under the modified policy, Schaefer said, the FAIR Plan was not required to investigate or pay for cleanup costs related to other types of smoke-related contamination. If you don't know how big of a deal that is, smoke contamination is actually awful. I used to work for a disaster cleanup company, and one of the ones I remember, there was two in particular, someone had a fireplace and it had spit some coals out the front and burned on the wood just around the fireplace, but it had filled the home with smoke, and we literally had to take everything out and wash everything. I remember going through the books, that was my job at the time, with an air duster, and I had to get dust and off of every single one of them. All of the books were just ruined, basically. If you can't tell, I'm a big book guy, and if my books were covered in smoke, oh, it would be a disaster. The conduct amounts to criminality of a kind that everyone in California should be worried about. The lawsuit accuses the FAIR Plan of intentionally concealing and misrepresenting the changes. The FAIR Plan told the Department of Insurance that the revised policies would not lead to less coverage for homeowners, but later told policyholders that the changes would result in more claims being denied, according to the lawsuit. The allegations of the lawsuit are not new. In 2022, the department issued a report that said the FAIR Plan failed to provide fire policies that met the state standard and improperly denied or limited coverage for smoke damage. Despite that, the lawsuit alleges the FAIR Plan has not changed its policies. They left us with no real options, Schaefer said. A department spokesperson also declined to comment. Imagine that. A case was filed in Alameda County Superior Court on behalf of 4 FAIR Plan policyholders. One lives in Oakland, 2 are near Fresno, and 1 has a home near Los Angeles. It's a class action lawsuit, meaning it was brought on behalf of a group of the FAIR Plan policyholders. So that means if you feel that you've had bad policies as a result of the FAIR Plan, get involved. Okay, so I just wanted to give you some updates. You know, once again, California has some big problems. California is beautiful. This has been my home state, and I've lived here basically my whole life. There's a lot about California that's really great, but you know what? We've got a long list of things that need to be addressed. So this is just one of them. If you have any more questions about the real estate market, thoughts or comments, all my information is below. Feel free to reach out or comment below. Thank you much. Have a good day.